Hey folks, Landstryder here, and welcome back to another episode on the Colonial Engineer server. It's the next day, Notch is back on, and we are now messing with the oil, and we're going to be making some plastic, getting into some high tier tech now. As you can see, the gear system in the background over there. We've also started some food, and that's going to actually double as a couple things garden down here. Let's take a closer look at what we've been up to. Wow, you did bring back quite a lot of oil. Nice, I like it. So these tanks from the car mod are really cool. They're connected texture multi-tank that doesn't require, that's kind of freeform. You do have to be a little bit careful with these. If you place them certain ways, they can delete like 1 millibucket of fluid if you care too much, or you want to make sure that all your machines always have that perfect 1 bucket thing. You don't want to do what Knock just did here, because you could like end up deleting or like 1 millibucket. It's like not a big deal, but otherwise you want to keep them in a nice column or row, or if you're building a multi-block tank, just let it sit. The problem comes when you break and replace partially filled tank pieces. But it's not an issue here. So anyway, let's take a look at what we got going on. Between the last episode and this, quite a lot of tech has happened, so let's kind of go over that real quick. Up here, I think it was kind of I skirted over the alloy smelter, craftable. Now I could show you the recipes for these, but they're going to be specific to the Colonial Engineer pack, so I don't know that I'm going to worry so much about like, oh, here's how you make this in this pack, because it's only going to be in this pack. You go to play another pack, you go to play with this mod, by itself, you're not going to have these same recipes. So I'm going to focus more on the functionality and less on like the crafting chain for this particular pack. Unless you guys are really just want to know, you're really curious, maybe we'll throw that in the future episode. But for now, I'm not going to like show you how to craft every little thing and the recipe for everything, because it may change, and it may even change in the future of this pack, depending on balancing issues of things that get added and changed as mods get updated, etc, etc, etc. But the main thing is we needed the alloy smelter because this allows us to do so many things. For one, it lets us create our forestry saplings. Now that's the method we have to use in this pack. That's not the normal method, but this is how we get into our endless supply of materials via trees, so that we don't have to rip up huge sections of the world. Though we'll probably be ripping up huge sections of the world and get materials that way as well too, because there's still a few things that we cannot get renewable that way. And the other thing that we need this alloy smelter for is the circuit boards. There's quite a few custom recipes that have been added to this pack. The networking cable, and then that is used to then create our refined storage cable. So this guy right here is pretty much a gateway into the rest of the tech, and that's that is the thing about the Engineers pack and pack series, is it is a progressive crafting thing. So you gotta get through each level of tech in order to get to the next level, unless you can find fun cheaty ways to get around that, and if you do, awesome, congratulations. But yeah, Nock tries to make it every crafting experience a fun rabbit hole. We'll just leave it at that. So I'll go ahead and put my crazy armor back on so I can move around now the intro is all over and with. So the alloy smelter, and then the crusher over here is necessary to process certain forestry logs. We can actually get ore chunks out of them, and then it's just a crazy amount of resources available to us once you get to that point. So we don't have to focus on resource gathering too much. We can really just focus on like building the tech, and building. We can focus a lot more on building. But those two things up here, these are just kind of the manual things. We're going to put them downstairs, start automating them through automated processes. We're going to get some refined storage going pretty soon, because while the remote storage, and then this thing is awesome. I don't think I've gone over this yet. I made this a remote storage and then you bind that to your master. It's really not too expensive. You got to get some glowstone, and glowstone's available in the cities, because if you come down and underneath one of the buildings, you'll find that there's often like tunnels connecting the two basements, and in those tunnels you will find glowstone. It can be found easily in the overworld in this pack. Okay, gardening. So we are going to be growing just these crops. Just these crops. So this is pretty much going to cover everything we want to do for food, and it also provides us with some very cool byproducts that we're going to be able to use. So the canola right here, we can crush that canola. We kind of have to crush that canola to get the thing we want out of it. So we throw it in this oil mill, and then that's going to give us these canola cakes. It's also going to give us a byproduct of canola oil, which we're going to have to do something with. Or we might as well do something with, I should say. Sorry, a little something in my throat there. So I sounded funny for a second. And then the next thing we're going to need is our lettuce, tomatoes, and some kind of a grain. I just used vanilla wheat for our grain. I think that because it's a little more of a versatile thing to have. Looks like some canola ended up down there in the water. And I haven't got this garden completed yet because I am putting it on this really awesome stuff from Random Things called fertilized dirt. Fertilized dirt allows several things that we can make that will automatically make crops for us. All of the vanilla ones are available through the Essentials mod as like self-generating dirt. Basically, you craft this thing and then forever it will make that crop for you. You just place it down, doesn't require a water source. Now I like the fertilized dirt because it does two things. A, it doesn't require the water source, so great. B, it works as regular dirt and as farmland. I guess there's three things that are really awesome about it. It says doesn't require the water source. You can grow trees on it, and you can grow crops on it, and it increases the growth rate of anything planted on it by quite a bit, whether it be a crop or a tree. So if you're gonna have a tree farm, it's really kind of smart to like make some of this dirt and plant your trees on that instead, unless it's going to be a 2x2 spruce tree farm, because those things will ruin your fertilized dirt. Don't even bother with that. But every other tree, really good idea to plant it on fertilized dirt. I imagine even like the fruit trees, and I don't think it's going to affect the crops growth rate, but it certainly would make the tree pop up faster, I would think. Okay, lettuce, tomato, and wheat, and we'll talk about that real quick, because that is going to let us make our cheeseburger. The cheeseburgers right here require some kind of bread, so we just use regular vanilla bread style stuff. To, again, that's why we're growing the wheat for that, one of the reasons. And then that's going to give us, and then we're going to need some steak, the tomatoes, and lettuce. So steak and cheese, those are the two things I haven't talked about in this process. Real quick, can I make any of those right now? Do I have the stuff in there for it? I am actually missing some bread, and oh, I don't want that bread. Ugh. This is the problem with this crafting grid, is it doesn't want to put the thing in there that I want half the time. Let's do that. Make some bread. Okay. We can also use that wheat while we're standing right here. The other thing I'm using that wheat for is to make our vinegar, and that is one of the things that, because you can't use, you cannot actually use apples. It shows apples, but you can use any kind of grain to make vinegar. Can't use apples. Apples actually ends up becoming jam if you put that recipe in the grid. So you make vinegar, and then you combine that vinegar with milk to get cheese. I'm actually going to make a cheese wheel that way, a wheel of cheese with a bucket of milk and vinegar. So I've actually set this is little cheesy automation out here. Oh, I couldn't resist. I could not resist. This is a very cheesy automation. In fact, I think I got a stir out of knock just a little bit with that one. So yeah, I grabbed some mushrooms, put them into a cow crusher. I don't know if you're not familiar with a cow crusher. It's just a 1x1 thing where they can't get out of, and then you breed them, and eventually entity cramming will start killing them off. And when entity cramming happens, the adults die, not the babies that you just generated. So at that point, it just becomes a real easy way to kill them off and get the materials. So you even got a few stakes in there right now. And in this pack, there is a way to automate that a little bit, which again goes back to our canola. So all these crops, these 4 crops, kind of really tie in together to form this cheeseburger trifecta or whatever, quadfecta. Several processes to it, but and then I've got the mushrooms. I don't know if I'm going to get actual mushrooms off of them as I kill them and all, but I'm definitely going to get raw beef and I'm going to get leather from them. I can milk them with a bowl if I ever want to get some mushrooms too. I don't know why I would want to do that. Cheeseburgers are way better. But I can also milk these guys. You get just regular milk out of them. So I can stand here and get some milk. Now, if I combine that milk with my vinegar, and I have this set up in one of these little auto crafting grids. This is an auto crafter from Essentials. It's fairly cheap to make, and it will take one recipe, and whenever it gets a redstone pulse, which is why I've made these interval timers. And I got this interval timer. Oh, sorry, skipping around here. Making an interval timer, and every time that clicks, if it has the stuff in here, it'll make a wheel of cheese. The hopper down below will draw that out. It will also draw out any of the byproducts, which would be the empty bottle and empty bucket that's going to be generated from this recipe. It's actually pretty nice that it does all that, and it won't allow anything except for the recipe ingredients to be inserted, and only at one at a time. Pretty neat. So I got this hopper over here. I can stand here and I can throw this bucket of milk that I just milked and throw that into that hopper. Look at that. I got an empty bucket and my empty glass bottle back. Nice. So what's happening is this is getting sucked out by this hopper and sent into this factory dropper from engineering decor. These things are sweet. It allows me to say, oh hey, if you get a glass bottle here, spit it out. Or if you get an empty bucket, spit it out, but don't spit out anything else. You can set up to 3 things, and you can tell it specific amounts. Like if you wanted to, sound like one of our babies grew up, and we just probably got some more. Yeah, nice. I got some more meat and leather. Like it. Back to what I was talking about. This thing. This also allows you to very specifically set the trajectory and the power at which, or the momentum. That's the word I'm looking for. The trajectory and the momentum at which the item is fired out from it. You see that there's like a red side and a green side on that little face. So that helps you kind of orientate your dot here for the vector. And then this is the little spring on this side, kind of determines the momentum. So the further back you pull the spring, the harder it ejects it. So this will go ahead and eject any glass bottles and buckets back up to the person standing on the corner here. So yeah, it's kind of a cheesy automation, but I can milk a cow, throw my bucket into that hopper, and in a second it'll give me the empty bucket back. I can refill it. Well, then we got to go a step further with this. So now we've got these cheese wheels, but we need cheese slices. Gotta have the cheese slices, so we put them in this dispenser, and thanks to Quark in this pack, this dispenser can place blocks. And the cheese is actually a block. It's kind of like a cake block, but the dispenser can in fact, let me turn it on. So now whenever this one, because this is already operating our auto crafter, it's just ticking once per second. So now it's ticking that one too, because I've turned off the redstone signal. It was locking the dispenser before, so now it's going to try to dispense. Now if I just break this cheese, I'm going to lose it. I just lost a whole wheel of cheese. I got nothing from it. Sad. I'm sad. But what you need to do is go with an empty hand and click on it, and you'll get a cheese slice off of it. A cheese slice. I don't actually click on it with a cheese slice. You'll probably just click on it with anything. Yeah, you can click on it with anything. It doesn't have to be an empty hand. Right click on it will peel off a cheese slice. Each one of these blocks has 8 cheese slices, so you gotta click it 8 times. You get 8 cheese slices. 8, maybe it's 7. Maybe the last one. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it is 7. 28 a second ago. How many do I got now? 35. Well, maybe I'm. Yeah, it's gotta be. It's an odd number. Seems to be either that or what I'm doing here is causing me some slight losses. It's a possibility. But anyway, this will place the cheese for me, and then I can slice the cheese. So, the cheese factory for cutting the cheese. Now, there's one way that I've been able to think of to automate this process a little further, and we're gonna do that a little bit later on in the series. But this little setup right here, if I put me a little turtle right here somewhere, I set that up with a hopper so that the turtle parked himself on top of the cows with a hopper facing into him, firing the empty bucket, just the empty bucket, back up to the turtle. The turtle could then go ahead and milk the cow, bring that empty bucket over, and then drop it into this hopper, making some cheese. He could then we could then route that cheese into that dispenser automatically. So as soon as the turtle drops that bucket of milk into there, and by the time he makes his way over on top of the cheese wheel, it'll be there ready for him, and then we'll just have him cut the cheese. So we're gonna make a cheese cutting turtle later on in the series, but we gotta make a turtle first and all that other fun stuff. But I yes, we will make the turtle cut the cheese, and all the jokes associated with that. So that will probably end up being a running joke with this series. I'm absolutely going to do it. It may even be next episode. I don't know. It depends on how ambitious I'm feeling with because I'm going to have to write some Lua. It's going to be a pretty simple program. You just got to move around a little bit and do some things, and I'll have most of the rest of it automated. But I mean, why not? I mean, it's like the least automatable thing in this entire pack, and I'm going to automate it. Of course. What we got to do. What we do here. We automate things that shouldn't be automated and that people think can't be automated. I'm going to do it. How's it coming down here, man? I'm down to check on you. Oh, okay, cool. Getting the other diesel production set up. Love it. So we got a diesel generator, and then we'll have another diesel generator of a different mod feeding into this battery box, which will probably end up being the base power core for the time being till we need to go bigger. But for what we got going on, I think that'd probably be more than sufficient for everything we got going on in the immediate future. Yeah. Yeah, because so what happens here is our canola cakes get turned into oil. We also have to put some wood in here. That gets made into charcoal and methanol, which is actually kind of nice double purpose use for some wood. Then those two things get combined in the mixer, and that then makes this mixture of stuff. I don't have any. We have none of that ready. Canola oil mix or something like that. Anyway, that goes into the refinery. Then the refinery will return that fluid into this biodiesel with the byproduct of glycerin. The glycerin can then be turned into some slime balls every once in a while, so we'll probably have an automatic slime ball thing set up down here just to deal with the glycerin just as a byproduct, but that's going to give us more slime balls. Yay, actually kind of like that because slime balls can be hard to find. And then that biodiesel will go ahead and go into the car mod generator, which is not down here just yet. That one he is probably working on right now. Quite a bit of not just yet. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Because this also is the fuel for the car. So yeah, we gotta go down. That's gotta go. The biodiesel's got to go down to another storage tank and be stored similarly to the way the regular diesel. This is regular. This is regular diesel. Yeah, that's the way to say it, because diesel that comes from oil that you pumped out of the ground, that would be this stuff. And then biodiesel that we're creating with plants will be the other stuff that we use in our cars, because we're green like that. We don't use that nasty stuff that we pumped out of the ground in our vehicles. We totally would if we could. Yeah. So anyway, I think with all that, with the tech update and the cheese cutting factory explained, I think I'm gonna wrap this one up, guys. Oh, purple texture monster again. I gotta get rid of that armor. Maybe that'll be the thing I do next episode. Is we'll do the armor upgrade at the beginning, because I do have enough stuff to start making that crimson steel, which is gonna go into my final set of armor. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button if you maybe we should set a goal for the cheese cutting robot. You know, like let's get 100 likes. Can we get 100 likes for the cheese cutting robot? The faster I get the 100 likes, the sooner we get the cheese cutting robot episode. Until next time, guys. I will catch you later.